Transformative.
Peace, everyone. Welcome back to Trust Fund Baby Community. I know it's been a minute. That's not my fault. We've been working on a lot of developments, tech things, everything, making sure we have the government contract and software and things in place for you all, the grant software. We actually have the Loom demonstrations in place so y'all can actually see how the software works. I'll make sure that you all get access to that in the community in case you have interest in utilizing any of those services. And oh yeah, I also was working on the private mentorship and the VIP day situation. So with my other company that I'm partnered in, Ocean Play Productions, we have access to like 40 different yachts, and also one of my partners on a yacht. So we I wanted to establish a VIP day where people can just come out. We can build, we have somebody cater stuff and we go out on the water. You make sure you have all your stuff together by the time you leave, whether if it's a 1 day, 2 day thing. So we made sure that we incorporated all of those things into that system. On top of we got a lot of things we've been working on to make sure that that system will be viable for everybody. Because one of the things that I've seen when we work in the community is that it's difficult for me to be able to get you all together at the same time. Everybody got their own schedule. Everybody got whatever they got going on personally. So that was one of the main reasons why I see the importance of me doing the mentorship program, even though I like having my time and my peace. So there are only so many slots that I am available to take through our mentorship programs. And from it's three different tiers. The first tier is probably like it goes monthly or weekly depending on what your schedule is. So clearly if you're going weekly, you're gonna be able to finish a lot faster. But it's different week time frames or week session frames depending on whichever tier that you're in for the mentorship program. But one is set for government contracting in the second tier, and the third tier is pretty much Dow investment programs, everything. The goal is so that you can, if you go into the first tier, you can segue into the other ones. But it's easy. I made sure that it was financially feasible for people, even though it may not seem like it. If you follow the steps, it's easy for you to be able to do some of those things. But outside of that, peace, everybody. What's going on? So today we are going over. That's that killer ass dog over there. The dog is crazy. We going over status correction today. So if you all have any questions, please, like I said, matter of fact, everybody come off mic. We gonna go around see who here. I know it was a few people who was in that had dropped out. Um, Miss Diamond, please come off the mic. Please introduce yourself and let the people know what it is that you're looking to learn out of class tonight, so I can make sure that I can assist you all properly.
Hey, hey, peace, peace, y'all. I'm Diamond from Michigan. But what I want to learn off the status class is to understand the importance of it, how to utilize it correctly, and how you get your family status corrected correctly.
Cool. I most definitely appreciate that. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Please introduce yourself and let everybody know what it is you're trying to get out of class tonight so we can make sure that we can get you there. Close my phone.
Peace, everyone. I'm Jay. I'm just here to just learn how to reprogram myself into the status correction to be able to do so for me, my son, and my family.
Okay,
Same way
your mic a little muffled, bro. Say that. Can you repeat that one more time for me? I want to make sure I heard you.
Peace, everyone. I'm Jay. I'm here to just reprogram myself in the status correction. I want to be able to do so for me, my family, and I'm at work, so
Oh no, it's all G, bro. I appreciate you being even, tapping in while you at work. So if you need to, or if you got to, use the chat or come off mic whenever you need to if it's something that you missed. So we'll make sure that we can, get you wherever you need the information. So you don't gotta keep going back to the replay.
Bet. That's a bet.
Who next? I got two more. Let's go.
What's up, y'all? It's Indigo. And I'm just learning. I kind of guess kind of piece some bits together from what I've been picking up from from just years of kind of hearing about status correction. Just I guess clarify appellation, the importance of genealogy in the process of this, and I guess at the end, I guess how it would uh, be beneficial and how you kind of like operate and especially in, talk about government contracting and things like that, how that could be a play in those scenarios.
Okay. And as Indigo, who DM, you the last one. Charlicia was here too. And a lot of people ask me for the replay. I hate the replay stuff because y'all gonna text me with questions. That's why I'm like, please be here, please be here. That's why I pushed it from the other week because people had birthday parties, everything. I'm like, but we got to do it because I told y'all we was gonna do it at the beginning of November, and I want to get this out the way so that we can move on to some of the other stuff. So, DM, what is it you trying to get tonight?
Hey, I guess I'm really just trying to learn, like how to use it in, um, I don't know if it like incorporates like not being detained, but I would like to learn that.
Okay, let me type that in here. And the list. I will go over that. It is separate, but it works together. But I'll make sure I'll go over that for you all. So
Wait, I have another question.
yes, ma'am.
Um, does it also go over like uh being like tax exempt, or is that something else as well?
Yes, we can. We'll go over the tax exempt aspect. Tax exempt.
Okay, thank you.
And shout out to Donald Trump for winning the election. He said he may want to get rid of the whole IRS. Income tax is a farce, man. It's like I give you $1 for a service, that same dollar goes to somebody else, and then that same dollar goes to somebody else. But there's a tax every time that dollar gets transferred. And who benefits off that tax? The United States. So they print the money and then they make money off of every time that, well, they print the fiat dollar and then they get more interest or credits, or let me say the exact words, off of every time that the currency is moved about, which is crazy as hell. They don't have to do nothing. It's super pimp. Like it's G as hell. It really is. Because just think about it. I make something and every time somebody else touches it, just that's another concept that we can utilize. Like just imagine if it was like something that's not edible, like a pencil. Every time somebody got a pencil or a pen from somebody else, because we know people, even lighters and pens, every time that shit changed somebody else's hand, the original owner or the original creator gets more money off of it. Imagine that shit happen every time somebody picked up your lighter or somebody picked up your pen or pencil. That is what happens with interest and tax, man. It's crazy. Okay, so appellation genealogy, rescinded instruments, traveling internationally. All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so let me share this. Um, okay, so this is based on a prompt I have put in. These are some points that just general questions that we can build off of in order to build a good foundation of what status correction is and how it pertains to nationality and how we're supposed to implement it and those importances on top of the things that you all just asked about. So right here, introduction to status correction and nationality, definitions and importance, explaining what status correction and nationality means and why they matter, historical background, discussing the origins of nationality, including historical, legal precedents, and societal impact. And then the purpose of status correction, outline why someone might pursue status correction. Example, personal sovereignty, legal autonomy, and then we overview the status correction aspect. So let's define what status correction is. I'm about to say, this is the easiest way to work through the information. Do it piece by piece because it's better for us to see it versus you go off my words and my understanding. Correct? Feel free to come off mic. Yo, shout out to Cortland. This motherfucker got good SEO. He's the first thing that come up when I type that in. So I can't even go on bro page. So let me show y'all what come up when we type in status correction on the internet. Present screen share. That shit was hilarious. Okay, so right here, for those of you who don't know, this is
Oh
Cortland.
yeah.
Yeah, right here. I said long master. That's why I was like, he got good SEO. He the first thing that pop up when you type that shit in. Like, I'm not gonna hate. Like, that's right. That's good. That's good. So authenticate your birth certificate, and it's just like this is a general search. So we're gonna work through what the things I wish I could still like stream with y'all and then like do the search on the search engines that I use privately. But the way it works, I can't be on the internet this way. So I may have to do a video recording of like what the actual internet will say about this versus Google because well, this is Bing, but even still, it's completely different. So status correction, step-by-step process, authenticating birth certificate. This is from, and there are misconceptions even about the authentication of the birth certificate aspect. I personally, because I understand what it means to authenticate a birth certificate, in my mind, that does not correct your individual status. You're just saying that business entity is operating outside of the United States jurisdiction when you get that status done in that aspect. So if you are making a claim that this entity is an American, not a United States citizen, that may be one of the reasons why you do something like that. I can understand that. So we have immigration documents on how to correct and update and replace. Adjustment of status. So determine you are eligible to apply for a green card, U.S. immigration laws. You or someone else must file an immigrant petition. So these are when you and it's so crazy that we having this conversation with the stuff that Donald Trump just said recently because he's against he's talking about mass deportation and what is it um birth is when somebody it's when a foreigner comes on the land and they have a child here, so technically that child, so this is I literally had this conversation with somebody on Clubhouse last night. Both of his parents are Mexican. He was born in Texas because his parents literally just crossed the border so that he can be an American citizen, and that's something that Donald Trump is trying to put a stop to. So then when we have an understanding that all of this status stuff, it coincides with immigration laws, you must be mindful of how you represent yourself in relationship to the United States of America, especially when we're in such a tumultuous climate, because there's literally, I don't recommend that people completely separate themselves from the business entity because it provides protections that you don't have on your own. Now, if you belong to a tribe, that's different. But once it's all pertaining to your political status. So correcting your political status. Let's look at this. National and federal states.com. So correcting your political status. Declaring your independence again. It is important to understand and who and what you are when you were born. It is critical to understand how you have been removed from your lawful political status and moved into a legal political status from birth, and and that it happened when you are still in the crib. That is not necessary. That part right there is not true. The origin portion of the creation of this happens when it's the separation of the placenta from the mother. So there's a court case from Ohio. let me see if I can. I'm gonna look it up while we still working through some of this stuff. But it's a court case from Ohio, and it says that they document the death of the placenta, and that is the time frame when they actually make the birth certificate from, because the baby itself doesn't die. Like the baby itself, the living soul is still living, because birth certificates, corporate entities, all these corporations are representations of fictitious entities, which are also representations of dead things. So this is why you have to also understand it's a separation between you, the living entity, and the corporate all caps entity. And this is what they're talking about. They bring you from an equitable position. Remember when we had the conversation or the class when we talked about equity, they bring you from a just and fair position over into a corporate body, because business can only do business with another business. You, as a living soul, they literally have to bring you into a system so that they can leverage off of your energy, so that they can tax you. They create all of these benefits and privileges, and per you come into the system, you are allotted these things. But you don't have a certain level of control because they're operating as your trustee until you become knowledgeable. And this is one of the main things what we're talking about, making sure that you are understood, that you can be respected in a lawful position, and that you control your business in a legal position so that nobody else has say so over what happens to that entity without you having any beneficial interest in your decision making. This is what a status correction is really about. So, the moments your birth are the state national, Floridian, Georgian, Virginian, state national, which you were born. Your state nationality, just soil, is altered by the state registration by your name. So, a state national. So that's damn. Make a note. Let me make a note of this real quick so I don't forget. We need to talk about jurisdiction again. I'm gonna look for the Ohio case about the placenta in a second. So let me come back over here. Okay. Moment of your birth certificate, national, state national. So there's state nationals, there's American citizens, there are private citizens. They are people who want to be considered sovereign citizens who don't want to be a part of any of those political parties or any of those documentation protections. And then there are indigenous Americans, all separate jurisdictions. We will touch on that shortly after we go through this. Hospital creates a long form certificate of live birth with the baby's autograph footprint, submits the document to your birth state's registrar, which is your Department of Vital Statistics, where processing is being conveyed and crib napped. That's their own term. They copyright that, for your correct lawful political status and state national into legal political status of the United States citizen. So when we talk about United States citizen, this is how they bring you into the legal protections of the 14th Amendment. Because remember, the 14th Amendment specifically only speaks on three parties initially. It is the European white male, American Indians not taxed, and persons. So by them doing this, this is how you become a 14th Amendment citizen, through this enrollment, through this documentation, because now you are one of those legally protected persons, or at least the entity is. So the main way how they attach this to my DJ band all caps is they do something like a hate. It's called in court. It's called a habeas corpus, and that's when they put a warrant out for your body. So per the business entity, through documentation like habeas corpus, that's how they're able to twist the narrative and try and make it seem like one thing is another, or two things can be true at the same time. And they can be, but in this instance, this isn't the case. You are not that entity. It may be named after the name that your parents gave you, but you're not that entity. It's no difference than Sean Carter brand, Jay-Z brand, Puff Diddy brand, all of these different brands, corporate entities. Those are not the living individual. Those are copyrighted entities with bank accounts and EIN numbers. That's completely separate business. So, questions so far. Questions. I'm about to pull this court case.
I got a question. Is the habeas corpus connected to like the what's that trust? The
Trust.
Sestacue?
Yeah,
Sestacue?
they put the habeas corpus out for the entity that's attached to the Sister Trust, which is what they call your legis, your straw man, your all caps name. That's what
Okay,
the habeas corpus got to be in. The habeas corpus is never going to be in your name in proper English, like first letter uppercase, the rest lowercase. You're never going to see that. It's always going to be all caps because the business can only do business with another business legally.
got you. And I might be jumping ahead here with the just solely. The just solely is the right to soil, and just sanguinis is it right by blood?
Yes.
Okay, got you.
Um, I actually think I sent this to myself years ago, fam. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. Ohio. Oh shit! I guess I found it. Let me see. Ohio Code. Report of finding child. Whoever's finding. Child has been placed care of person superintendent manager. This is the birth records for Ohio. Let me run one more. So I got a lot of stuff from Ohio in here. Um, Ohio. So let me go back through this. I'm gonna pull it after we go through Q&A. Understanding jurisdiction and legal framework. So I'll ask all of you all, what type of status do you believe that you want personally? Do you know? Are you aware of? Are you aware of the different types?
Um, I guess I don't know the actual verbiage of the type that I'm looking for, but ultimately, I guess to be able to kind of connect it to whatever tribal circumstance. But I mean, only
Okay,
if
so
it,
you want tribal. You're looking for tribal benefits, tribal status. There
yeah.
are people like how we read just recently. Like there are state nationals.
Okay.
You feel me? So it's people who will be like they will be under the Republic of Florida, the Republic of Michigan, and then they fall in line with the state constitution of Florida or the state of Michigan.
Right.
Same like it would be American nationals and they fall in line with the United States Constitution. So if you're going underneath these tribal jurisdictions, one thing I'm gonna show y'all is like what one of our constitutions look like. It's based off of my tribal lineage, off of the Lenape people. But we have a constitution which we abide by, which provides a government and a jurisdictional body. And this information, where it came from outside of my tribal aspect, the elders who helped me to finalize in order to get it recorded for my particular nuclear family, they stuff was overseen and looked at by other government officials, and they was just like, these aren't things that you share with the open world. So this the
Mhm.
information I'm showing y'all, my stuff that I have right here, these have judge exemplification. So they've been signed and looked at by a judge, and they recorded in public systems right
So if, for example, I guess if you're, I mean, for whatever reason, if genealogy doesn't actually trace to a specific tribe, or you can't find the documentation after all of whatever type of genealogy work you get done, is there a way to establish your own tribe by like assembly? But would you position it, I guess, in a different way, as far as like the type of status that you would want to change to?
now.
If you,
Everybody come from somewhere. That's the thing. Is just everybody don't always like where they come from because they're if you've done a family tree and you've gotten past the 1900s into the 1800s, there are records of either your people always being here or them coming from somewhere else, whether it's the islands or if it's parts of Africa. So it's very important for your sake of your political, social political status that you can tie yourself into your own ancestry. That way that you can get those actual legal benefits that are set aside per your bloodline, nobody else's. It is a crazy thing. And I'm so thankful for my walk in life just to be like, you're a Moor, everybody's a Moor. Like that's outlandish, fam. Per religious protections and explaining that Morano or melanated people were expressed as this particular thing between Indian and Moor, depending on the time frame and the culture, understood. But saying that everybody is a Moorish American and putting them underneath this umbrella, remember the Moors were conquerors and they were colonizers as well in some aspects. They were tyrants. They had concubines. These are our people, melanated men with beards and everything, look just like us. I'm Moorish by bloodline. I'm also Lenape by blood. I have intermixing in my history, but it's just understanding that everybody is not a Moorish American. And what the Moorish American or the Moorish society did when it was the Ottoman Empire, they had a projected jurisdiction. They were overseas. And per government rule, is just think about it like how the queen still to this day controls land, our king now still controls land that they decrepit geriatric self can't go do nothing about. It's not like they walking around be like, oh, this is mine, but they have a projected jurisdiction over this landmass that these people respect. And it was the same thing over here in the Americas because kings and other nations were warring and fighting, and it was like, we want this land, this rich land, with all of these people over here that know nothing about nothing because we were just out here living our life, minding our business. So it created a dynamic that could, the way it happened when they got here from the Portuguese wars, all the way the French wars, when the Europeans came out with Christopher Columbus and all of that stuff, when by the time we got settled and the United States was already established after 1776, it was treaties in place and everything. And then you have it was, I don't like to use the word racist, but it was a political offsetting from like people like Walter Plecker and stuff. And then we have whitewashing in history where they will say that people who were American Indians in some aspect where they couldn't read or they couldn't speak. But what they meant was they couldn't read or speak English. These people were intelligent. They understood their languages. It was to this standard. And then they was also calling light-skinned people mulattoes. Most of these light skinned people were American Indians. They were calling dark skinned Indians black Negroes when most of these people are American Indians. And if you were called an American Indian, your life was at risk at this time as well. So a lot of people still to this day, their family members won't acknowledge some of these things because of some of the mental strain that some of their grandparents went through back in the day. Because shit even happened to me when I was younger. When I was in elementary school, they wanted my mom to cut my hair, and it's just these things are ingrained into the education system, into European academia in the United States society, and we will think that certain things are possible just because the way history has been contorted. But a lot of those dark skinned people that you see, if they haven't left this place, there's a super strong possibility they're an American Indian. There were tribes that wanted to be documented. There were tribes that didn't want to be documented. And we just have to have an understanding of the region the individual comes from. And then if you have people that are from the 1800s in the Georgia area, more than likely they're related to the Creek, the Choctaw, the Muskogee. Those are the tribes in that region. If they were in Florida, it was Seminoles down here. So it's a regional thing when it comes to your genealogy as well, because we would be with who we were with. Like it wouldn't be, not to say that other tribes wouldn't barter. Like we have powwows in other tribes, we gotta have harvest times, all types of stuff, neighboring areas. But our families lived with our families. So if your family was in a certain region, if they owned certain things at this time, it is a super strong possibility that they belong to one of these particular tribes. Now, if you go back further enough and you see records of people coming over on boats, We then have to do the international record pool to see what you are entitled to as an indigenous person from that area. There's indigenous people are indigenous all over the world, but we're in America. So when we say indigenous, we're mainly talking about here. And I also have to express this to people from the islands and stuff. I'm like, you're still an American. Some some arrogant individual on Clubhouse the other night, he had told a Mexican that he wasn't an American. I'm like, no, he's an American. He's just not a United States citizen if he's Mexican. And you have to understand the difference because we have maps and globes, and Canada's in America, United States, the projected United States, Mexico, we have South, Central, North, all of this. That's all the Americas. So saying you are an American, it puts you in a different jurisdiction than that of the United States, the 50 United States. So, you said how you peace, peace, peace. All right, I got two more who came in here. Miss Miller and Wasanda. I forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Miss Miller, what you trying to learn? Go. What you say?
I said you said it right, Wasanda.
Okay. So, what is it that you looking to learn today? Because we are going over status, social, political status, and nationality, and how you do it, the importance of it, and
Yeah, I feel the importance of it. I've always been drawn to learn my family history. Long time ago, my great aunt, she had made a family tree. She engraved it in wood, and I can't find it anywhere. I don't know where anybody put it. So I really do want to find my Texas lineage, and then also go back to the American Indian lineage or the Niji people. So that's I'm here to get information so I can learn where to start.
okay. So I'll make sure y'all get tools about the genealogy stuff as well. Miss Miller, what about you? You probably in the car. You always in the car.
No, actually, I'm home. Just well, I had researched my tribe and I found out where they were. Just basically put myself on the land. Um, and how do I basically, I guess, enforce them to acknowledge my tribe? Since I mean, this is my first time trying to ever do, it, even though I knew that my great grandma was, Indian.
What's your tribe?
Blackfoot.
Okay, so the way it works two ways when you have evidence that you belong to a tribe because there is you are an Indian and then you are on the roll as an Indian. Nobody can deny your bloodline. Now, if you want rights and benefits from that tribe, you need to go tap in with that council and see what it's going to take in order for you to be in good graces with the rest of your family members. And sometimes that's strenuous for people, but it's not necessary for you to be documented as an American Indian because let me go. Give me 1 second. I might grab this book.
Okay, because who I need to reach out to.
Okay. All right. This is Rights of Indians and Tribes by. Y'all can see this, right?
Who's the author?
It says Stephen L. Pevar, Pevar.
Hey,
So,
hold it up again so I can take a screenshot, please.
uh,
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
yes, yes, yes.
And what was his last name?
Pevar. So, I got a few things in here that's highlighted for a reason. British victory, right? It's a specific law in here. This is the relocation of Indians definitions. This is who is an Indian. All right. In this book, it literally says that I got so many. Yeah, so like even right here, it says, "Are non-Indians permitted to live in Indian country?" Yes, many non-Indians live in Indian country. Like if you ever go on the res, it is people who not actually like on the Shinnecock reservation. It's people who not born Shinnecock who live up there. People get married in all types of different things. But even what is Indian title? Not long after the United States gained its independence from Great Britain, the Supreme Court was asked to determine who owned the vast land holdings still occupied by the Indians. Was it the Indians who had lived on those lands for centuries, or the new U.S. government, which had yet to even explore most of these areas? The court answered this question in Johnson versus McIntosh, 1823. The specific issue in that is that right? No. 1823. Yeah, the specific issue in that case was whether a non-Indian who had purchased land from an Indian tribe had obtained valid title to that land. That is the right of ownership. The Supreme Court held that the non-Indian had not acquired valid title because the land was no longer the tribe's to sell. The U.S. government had become the owner of all the land within the United States by virtue of the discovery of the North American continent by Europeans who were then replaced by the United States and the conquest of its inhabitants. This view, often called the doctrine of discovery, was based by the European concept, as the Supreme Court described it in Johnson versus Mintosh, that the Indians were heathens and their land could be taken from them and given to Christian people. It did not matter to the court that the Europeans had not discovered North America, on which some 500 independent nations already lived, and certainly had not conquered all the Indians living there, the vast majority of it whom were not even known to who's discovered the continent. The doctrine of discovery, which the Supreme Court had accepted in Johnson versus Mitosh, was very popular in the white community because it resulted in the confiscation from the Indians of all the land in the United States. This um, was a very severe situation because this is what led to reservations. It was just colonialism. People be like, "Oh, this is mine. We own this now." But we never, all the nations here never made an agreement with these people for them to just be like, "Yes, you can have New York, Florida, Delaware, all of this." No, all of them never came together and said that. This was just some European white supremacy stuff going like, and it's documented as such. And they even said it was for they wanted this to be for white Christian people. So a lot of this after the 1800s, we ended up having a lot of tribes end up getting land back, even still to this day. A lot of tribes, a lot of these things have been overturned, and there are tribes still to this day getting back hundreds of acres for these type of things happening. So this clearly, as we just read, it doesn't even sound like it was legitimate or illegal, and that's one of the main reasons why Supreme Courts have been overturning it. You just have to be in the position of an indigenous person, know where your land is at, and be a part of your tribe, have all your documents recorded in order for you to make a claim on your land. So, and there's you never know the situation that your people are in, and be based on your knowledge and your walk, how you may be able to help them. So that's why I always really like tell people really lean into your genealogy. Don't ask me to join my tribe. Try and find out what yours is. Your tribe could have been fighting with mine, fam. You could be pissing your ancestors off coming over here to kick it with us. Like, and I don't want that for nobody spiritually. I'd much rather you be able to tap into your family benefits, because if you come over to my side, you're not going to be entitled to the same thing that I'm entitled to, because my family, per me being the heir, I'm entitled to land rights and stuff. And everybody, unless you are a documented heir, you're not going to have the same benefits. Okay, so let's go over to this document real quick. Jurisdiction. So that's tribal jurisdiction. United States citizen is the one that you are in with the Social Security card, birth certificate. We got state citizenship, and then you have American citizenship. You want to be underneath the United States Constitution, and then we have people who don't want to be a part of none of that shit. So that's why I asked y'all, where do you want to be? Most of you all, and keep it like almost 10 years ago, Nobody was talking about what tribe you belong to. It was either you are a state national, you are a sovereign citizen, you're an American national. Nobody was pushing for genealogy. This is new. This is new. And when you go look at a lot of them documents from back in the day, all you see is Moorish American this, ill Bay that. That's all you see. So just be thankful that you are past that curve because it would have limited you because you would have felt comfortable where you were at. You would have never chose to do the genealogy for yourself and your family. Nationality versus citizenship. Oh, yeah. Somebody got a question? Somebody just came off mic. Who is that? Nakia? Miss Nakia, what's going on? You got any questions or anything you looking to learn tonight? I did start at 7:30. We start at I'm Eastern. I live in Florida. Oh yeah, you're in Chicago. Yeah. I said somebody asked in the chat too, or in the community. I said Eastern. Yeah. We haven't, even though we've been here a while, we haven't went too in depth into the information. We were just going over what it is you all were looking for and the importance of it and the different steps. And I'm gonna walk through some of my documentation. I'm gonna tell y'all how I did it. And this is also something that I provide to people. But also it's something that y'all can try and do on your own. But that's for me, when I did this filing, I was very sure about what it was I was putting into the system. I haven't had to do another one. Um, okay, so where was we at? National. Oh, excuse me, Miss Nikia.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. What is it that you looking to learn tonight?
Um, was this a status class, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So I was looking to learn how to fill out the what's the form?
The UCC one financing statement.
No. Um
It's a SS form. It's a SS what 191.
oh my god. My mind is blank because I'm off track. Let me think about it and I'll type it in.
Okay. All right. What's next? What's next?
Peace. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was doing my genealogy. I see a lot of Negro. It's a lot of Negro written in there, right? But
How
when I
far did you
research,
get back? How far did you get back? You still in the
oh
1900s? You still in the 1900s?
yeah, like no, it was probably the late 1800s. The late 1800s. There was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things written there in Negro, but when I looked into the region of that area, Early
Did you
County, Georgia,
did you hear that year that I read to you earlier?
I kind of heard it, but the AirPods be messing up, and I'm at work.
So 1823, I believe, was the year when they started to, like really tripping, like steal land from people for real.
I got you.
So that's why I be telling people I be needing you to get as far back in the 1800s, if not out the 1800s as you can, before they started doing all that bullshit. So,
I got you.
so if your family member, and then you just need to find one. You just need to find one person. You need to find one person. But you got to go back. You got to go back further. That's the main reason why you're seeing. That's what I was explaining earlier when I was talking about the misclassification of the American Indian people when they started to call them mulatto, when they started to call them the dark ones Negro. It was just, bro, like still to this day, like people look at me and they don't think I'm a motherfucking Indian, especially because of my beard. They
I
see
got
my
you.
they see my children though. They don't question it.
Yeah, they look at me and don't question it. It just I don't know. It's like a blockage up there or something like that. Like I can't get no further. Well,
So whenever you get, this is something that all of you all keep in mind.
Mm.
Whenever you get to a point where you are doing your genealogy and you hit a roadblock, some of the things that will be the reason why you can't go any further, it is the birth and death dates are wrong, or you need to look for there was a sexual partner involved somewhere. If you can match that partner, you will be able to go back further. So between the partner, military records, and birth date, death dates, that I really between the birthday, death date, and they partner, them the main things that I look for. If you can find that for that individual or match it up, and also cross reference ancestry.com with my heritage,
Mm.
because sometimes records are incomplete on some of the other systems, but my heritage has really good records. But we use ancestry.com in order for us to build out our family tree.
Got you.
Boom, 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 boom. Nationality versus citizenship. Nationality defined. Explain the concept of nationality and how it relates to a place of origin, culture, and law. Excuse me, in law. Um, what nation do you belong to? What is your flag? What is your land? What is your people's culture, precedents? What was it like? The term is called post-millennium. What was it like that means pre-colonization, before European people came in contact with you all. This is the nation or the body that you can align yourself with. When we talk about what's your nationality, if somebody asks me whose my nation is, it's still Lenape people. That's my nation. I'm I'm an American. I'm an American Indian. I'm Lenape. So what nation are you going to belong to? Like still to this day, like ain't nobody will ever get me to say that I'm not an American. I'm for sure an American. Like I love this country and all of this foolishness because nobody gets to get away with the shit we do except for over here. But on the sub scale, when we start to get more specific, it's Chinese Americans, white Americans, Irish Americans, all these other types of Americans. I'm not a black American. I'm not an African American. I don't belong to the black nation. I don't belong to the African nation. I belong to the Lenape nation. That is my ancestry. That's where my stuff is documented to run through, right? So even if you, for some people outside of us, it is some people on a more personalized scale, they will do it based off of their family, but that still doesn't tie into a nationality. That's more of traditionalism and a crest level. That's when we start talking about social political status, how your relationship is with the rest of the world, more so. But your nationality is a big part of that, because if you don't belong to a nation, you don't have certain political protections. And the aspect of how you belong to the United States nation, it is your business entity. So the business underneath consumer protection laws and business statutes and codes and stuff gets certain protections that you are able to leverage as operating as a beneficiary of said business. Citizenship explained. Contrast citizenship with nationality, focusing on rights, privileges, and obligations. So that's a really good question. What is the difference between nationality and citizenship for you all? Don't all speak at once. It's cool.
Wait, restate that.
I said, what is the difference between citizenship and nationality for y'all?
Mm.
I think the citizenship is based off of, I mean, I always was felt like it's based off of what, you were saying before, how, it's we're born underneath the corporate structure versus being, I guess, a national, like being a live person, born under, like, I guess, underneath like, federal, um, rights and benefits as an actual live person versus a corporate entity. I mean, that's my guess. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, that's really good, bro. And it's like even like based on y'all answers, I can tell like how this is why I always ask you that way, because I get an understanding of where your, like, how your framework or your understanding is. Because if you have that level of understanding of nationality and citizenship, it's easy for you to have an understanding of what your position is. So it's just I ask y'all questions for multiple reasons. One, to engage, and then also to have an understanding of you yourself.
Bet. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, I would say that because the citizenship is like our citizenship over here, and then nationally, like more thinking basically your status. If that makes sense.
I understand. Like, I guess, I mean, like national, that's basically who you really are versus the
Mm,
clone that was created,
right.
unbeknownst to you. I guess that's the way I could say it a little bit easier.
We are going to click the wrong button. We are going to share a screen from U.S. immigration. U.S. citizen versus national. So, literally, a United States citizen versus somebody who has a national presence or national relationship that they project to the world as being their status. Let's just work through this short document so we can see what they're talking about. Y'all can see this fine, right? Let me zoom.
Yes.
Now, yeah,
Let me zoom that out over
it's
here.
blurry when it's little. Now it's good.
Okay, cool. Citizenship identifies an individual country or origin. United States citizenship can be defined as a status that entails specific rights, duties, and benefits. U.S. citizens, that shit is so shitty when you understand how words. U.S. citizens owe their allegiance to the United States and are entitled to its protections. That is crazy work, bro. Do y'all feel like y'all owe y'all allegiance to the United States?
No,
But like, I have military parents. I honestly, I truly love this country. Like, I really do. And like, if you don't align with this nation, then what do you see yourself aligning with?
Right.
That's
I
why it's just interesting questions.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I align. I don't align with the corporate structure. I guess if you operating in both, kind of like if you leveraging how to operate from the private and the public, then both has its advantages, in my opinion. So I don't think I owe an allegiance to the corporate structure. Oh, is that me?
Oh, you good, bro? It dropped out.
Oh, my bad.
You must have got close to the computer or something.
Either. I don't feel
Yeah,
like I owe me any allegiance.
So personally, I do owe this country an allegiance. My parents are military, and I have a military. I went to military school. It contributed to the young man I am today, and why my children are the way that they are, and my discipline factor, me being a martial artist, all of that stuff. And because I understand the ramifications of being against this country, I much rather verbalize that I'm for it than against it. Even the corporate structure and all this BS. Because, like, one thing we can say, even though we may not like how it seems, we benefit from it every single day.
Right.
That is true.
So that's why I'm like, me just being real. I'm like, I'd rather be the bully than the one getting beat on. I'm just saying.
Okay. If we are a bully,
We are the bully. We are the bully.
and we going over there killing people with flip flops and t-shirts, I was cracking up.
But I'd rather be. If you gotta choose, I'd rather be the country that
I,
people fear and respect versus
Mhm.
people getting terrorized over here.
I agree.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, I'll be like, I'll rock with y'all. Yeah. Well, MAGA, make
I mean,
America great again.
we got it. We got it good compared to a lot of countries. I mean, we have our flaws, but
We're
we're
spoiled as hell here. People become tech millionaires overnight on TikTok online and stuff. I'm like, we do what we want. Like we trip
Nah,
over some of the minute stuff like gas prices and grocery
but
prices, but we spoiled as hell here.
we have people who would never be known if it wasn't for social media. Like people that's on TV before. Years ago, you used to have to go to school. You had to be a real actor. Hell, you ain't even gotta be an actor no more. You ain't
You
gotta
just
go to
gotta go
school.
viral. You just gotta go viral. That's why I be like, you. How can you not love it here? We get opportunities that nobody else in the world get found. So, all right.
Like,
Most people have.
that.
I'm just about to run through this real quick. Unless y'all got a question about it, real quick. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm trying to
Okay.
learn this.
Most people have only one country of citizenship, but some can have dual citizenship. United States citizens can be native born. Indigenous and native born are not the same thing. Indigenous, your people were always there. Natives, they come from another land and they have been there long enough to be acknowledged. I use food and fruit as a good example of how to explain this. Watermelon is not from the United States. That shit is from Africa. Watermelon is indigenous to Africa, is native to the United States. Asiatic Native Americans with the chinky eyes that we be seeing, the Navajos and stuff, they are called Native Americans for a reason. There are indigenous Americans and then there's Native Americans. Understand the difference. And when they use these words, who they're talking about, they're very specific because it's not called the Bureau of Native American Affairs. It's called the Bureau of Indian Affairs for a reason, right? So citizens can be native born, foreign born, naturalized, which we were speaking about earlier. When somebody comes in through a naturalization process, they are a foreigner. They go through all the classes. They learn. They pledge their allegiance to the United States. They go through immigration, customs, all that stuff. That's in. They have to be here a certain amount of time, go through their probation period in order for them to be classified as a United States citizen. United States citizenship includes those who have obtained birthright citizenship. This is what Donald Trump wants to take away from people. So I don't know if this is still going to be true in the upcoming months because birthright citizenship is when your parents are foreigners and you come into the States. Like I used the example earlier, the young man who I spoke to the last night the night before on Clubhouse, his parents are both Mexican. He lives in Mexico right now, but he's technically an American who was born in Texas. So his parents literally came over here just to have the baby, and then they left so that he would have a United States birth certificate and social security number. That is going to more than likely in the 90 percentile be stopped. And then we have citizenship through naturalization. People who acquire citizenship by birth, if they are born in the United States, are born to a United States citizenship parent. The term U.S. national and U.S. citizen are often used synonymously, when in fact they are different terms with two different meanings. United States national and United States citizen are not the same. Okay. First, it is essential to understand the concept that all United States citizens are U.S. nationals, but all U.S. nationals are not United States citizens. Does that make sense?
I think so. So, like for example, when you were saying like people from the Caribbean, um, they will be considered U.S. nationals, but they can't be U.S. citizens.
Mm-mm. They're not even in the They're unless the United States is controlling that region of those islands, they wouldn't be considered in that jurisdiction. We talking about the more so the 50 state region.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
if somebody from the islands came into the 50 states, they could be considered they could be a national, but they could not have their citizenship initially.
Got you. Okay, makes sense.
And so let's look at it like people like us, right? So let's reread it one more time. It is essential to understand that the concept of the U.S. citizen and U.S. national, but not all United States nationals are United States citizens. So if we look at that, so if I am a national and I belong to my tribe, that doesn't mean that I fall underneath, the EIN number, the District of Columbia, any of those federal corporate jurisdictions or state corporate jurisdictions because I'm operating on the nation's level. So remember, it's they're not even talking about states. Remember, we when we read the other stuff, they were talking about state nationals, right? They're talking about a United States national. So that's not limiting to a state or just federal. Like you can decide the particular range in which you want to operate in. And me personally, I would choose the one with the best protections, the one that all of the other constitutions are built off of, the one that is in favor of the United States Constitution. Because in the United States Constitution, it says treaty is the supreme law of the land. So if you have any indigenous ties in your family, have any treaties, you have just incorporated yourself into other protections. Because in my documentation, it says my grandparents' treaty in here. Um, so only a relatively small number of individuals acquire U.S. nationality without becoming United States citizens. A U.S. national is any person who has the irrevocable right to reside in the territory. Let's say that one more time. Irrevocable right. Y'all know what that means? You can't take that shit away.
Yep.
So any person who has the irrevocable right to reside in the territory of the United States without limitation. This definition includes citizens and all U.S. citizens who are also U.S. nationals. However, the term U.S. national also covers relatively small number of people who have the unlimited right to reside in the United States, but who are not citizens. This time, damn, they repeated themselves. This term does not include green card holders, lawful permanent residents. Scroll down. This not that long. Because lawful permanent residents, because while a green card grants you the right to reside in the United States, it is also revocable. So anyone born in the unincorporated territories of Puerto Rico, this is why people be like, when you learn about Puerto Rico is something different. So these are one of the islands that is in U.S. jurisdiction. Starting in 1917, U.S. Virgin Islands starting in 1927, or Guam starting in 1950, also U.S. citizens. Someone born in the unincorporated territories of American Samoa, Swan Islands, however, is not a U.S. citizen by right of territory birth, but is a U.S. national. So this answers your question earlier. It literally says if they're born in those territories, they are a national. They're just not a U.S. citizen. Individuals born in Guam between 1898 and 1950, and Puerto Rico between 1898 and 1917, in the U.S. Virgin Islands between 1917 and 1927, or the Philippines between 1898 and 1946 would also have been U.S. nationals, but not a United States citizens unless citizenship was inherited from his or her parents. So, and then we get to the important question, which most of you all would like to know. Are you a U.S. national, a U.S. citizen, or both? The only significant difference between a U.S. citizen and a non-citizen U.S. national are that non-citizen U.S. nationals may not vote on a federal electors and hold any federal elected office. They have the same rights to live in the United States as citizens do, and this right is irrevocable, unlike green card holders. A U.S. national also has the right to a U.S. passport. The annotations page will show the holder is a U.S. national and not a citizen. So right there, the U.S. passport, the annotation with the annotated page will show that the holder is a U.S. national and not a citizen. So you must attach documents when you file for your U.S. passport in order to inform them of your status, or otherwise they'll put you in the system as a citizen because it's so small and minute. And people be like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yes, it do. It really do. Like when I had lost my wallet and I needed to fly back to Michigan for something. So I had to get a Florida state ID. And I did not get a driver's license. I did not want to contract in that way. I'm like, I want a state ID. When I went in there, I asked them, I was like, what did you put my race down as? They put black. I'm like, nope. I'm like, cut that. Little baby, she was like, what is this supposed to say? I was like, Native American, American Indian. She canceled out the whole thing. I had to go back and fill everything out. You have to inform them of who you are and how to deal with them. You must give these people notice, or otherwise, they will assume and they have the right to because you acquiesce. Meaning you didn't say anything. That's why I'm like, let me make sure I said it. U.S. nationals are also entitled to consular protections of the U.S. when abroad and the right to apply for citizenship by naturalization after just 3 months of residency. The U.S. citizenship is not guaranteed automatically to natives of American Samoa or Swans. However, natives from Puerto Rico, the Marinas, Guam, and Northern Marina Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, do automatically acquire U.S. citizenship. Citizenship can be seen as both a status and an ideal. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Let's run that shit back one more time. Citizens can be seen as both a status and an ideal. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state where within they reside. So this is the 14th Amendment. So you are a United States citizen and a state citizen from the 14th Amendment. This is why I always mention the 14th Amendment because it literally tells you who they are protecting here. So, questions while we move on to this next thing.
So as far as like citizenship at that state level, is that something that um I mean, I guess I mean
That's contract state. That shit. That's a state birth certificate. That's a state ID. Oh, that's why it's in the federal law. You are a citizen of that state and the United States. So
It,
until you certify them otherwise, that's what you will be looked at as.
now, is that something that you could fix through the social? That's something you could fix through the Social Security Administration, right?
To be looked at as a U.S. citizen or a national, yes.
Yes, to be looked at as a national. I
When it
think it
comes
was
to
it's
entity, it's
S.
the SF 181 form. I know what it
You
is.
say what form it is now?
It's the SF 181.
Right, SF 181. Right, but that is the proper way to go about it, right? As long as you got documentation, they'll do it.
That's just for the social security number stuff. You gotta remember, it's layers and levels to this, bro.
I got you.
You gotta look at it like it's two sides. It's what you're gonna do for the business, the all capital entity, the straw, and what you're gonna do for yourself, the living soul, the the natural being. I don't like saying natural person. That's oxymoron. There's
I
nothing
got you.
natural about a corporate legal foundation, constitutional foundation. We spoke on that.
So how
Document.
would
Man, I
you
wish I would have
start?
took all work.
You good, bro? I got you. Just let me know whatever you got. Who had a question?
Oh, that was Nakia. I said, so how would you start that process of
All right.
removing yourself?
That's literally the next thing on the list, I believe. Documentation preparation, outline essential document needs, filing process, affidavits and declarations, notarizing and witnessing. So, and then after that, we get into the role of trust when it comes to status correction. So, let's just go through the docs real quick. What I got right here. Mm, This is an exemplification that was filed in the state of Georgia. What judge signed this? I had a judge signature from the Superior Court of Cobb County, and the deputy clerk is on here. George Poole is the judge, and I got the deputy clerk information on here. So I have a judge and a clerk signature, a legally binding document. Um, this is declaration of standing, declaration of ownership, certificate of title. This is authentication of my birth certificate and a copy of the United States Constitution that they actually made me sign to show that I was a party in agreement of the United States Constitution. That is my small set. This is the this is the real set for real. Like that's what matters, but this right here is way more intense. This is recorded from the public record. Everything got thumbprints, signatures, and stamps in here. So this one starts off with the when you talk about document preparation. These are some of the documents that you would want to include in your stuff. And if you've ever done a UCC filing, if you've ever done a public record filing, some of y'all have probably already done some of these things similar. But this is when somebody said, "How do you get on the land?" This is recorded on the land records.
That was me.
Yeah, I know. So this is recorded on the land records. So there's. I'm just gonna walk. I'm just gonna work through it so y'all can understand.
So do you okay? So do you take it to? I know different states, different places, to like the deeds office, or you take it to like
So me personally, this is recorded. It says right here. It says deed book, and it has my number, and then it has my it has the deed book number, and then it has my page number. So this is recorded in. This is recorded the same place where they have the land records and everything. So you can't say that I'm still lost at sea when I have given you notice and these things have been recorded along with the land records.
and so are we get after you do that? Are we get 5 certified copies because we sending it to the sheriff, the governor, the DMV, and the mayor.
That's if you want to, because if it's recorded, it's public information. But yes, and I do it with the exemplified copies. I don't send anything without judge signatures on it because I'm not about to argue with nobody. Because there be so many people out here playing games, and I'll be like, you don't like this person works with you, and they cleared all of this. So here you deal with it. First thing we did was it's an affidavit of life, and it says it say my name and it say tribe of Lenape. It says I'm above the age of 18, and it says when I took my first breath. It has that date, and it says my family name. It, so this is literally just this is no different than documenting a birth. So this is just saying when I came into the world. It is signed and it's thumb printed and all of this stuff is notarized. So it's documented on the land records that I am a living individual. Right? Stuff is witnessed. This is quite have documentation from Chapter 11 of the Sister Q Verde Act of 1666. This is in here annotations, and there are notary stamps, and then there's also mail stamps on almost every page of this documentation.
Which mail stamps?
But yeah, that's what I was going.
These, I believe, these 2 cent stamps. These are 2 cent stamps.
Okay.
But when you understand the tax stamp act,
Oh yeah, I got the book.
yeah, you understand that in order for documents to be legally binding, there must be a fee that must be paid for it, and people did that through the Stamp Act. So that's what the main reason why we do that in order to make sure that these documents hold the proper legal weight they do as it pertains to equitable principles and the foundational laws that the United States was built off of.
Mhm.
So this right here, somebody asked about taxes, and there is a non-taxpayer affidavit of durable power of attorney, general non-fact, revoke, revoking of all previous power of attorneys declarations of UCC 91-02, household goods, consumer goods, not for commercial use or for profit gain, notice of content with certificates and other equitable titles attached here to. So within this documentation, it expressed that I'm a natural man, having first-hand knowledge of the facts stated hereby affirm the test certified will declare that I am the sole owner of my Sister Q estate and include any and all derivatives, assumed names, marks, codes, presumptions herein, reference principles in the county of Wayne do appoint the principal stand non-averse, non-belligerent, non-combatant party. You have to make sure that you say stuff like that because they have to understand that you're not coming in an aggressive manner and you are not an enemy of war because they would treat you as such.
Mhm.
Attorney General, in fact, and it says national man, Lenape, American Indian, disavows, reject any and all rights associated with 14th Amendment, Section 1 of the United States American Constitution. And this right here is a notice of intent, perpetual election to withdrawal of consent, beneficial owner, equitable sister Q trust, disinterest. This is literally just a document saying that I disenroll from me personally, not my business, me personally having any tax liability. And this is as long as that section right there. That document is probably like 10 pages, just that one.
You
After
said
that,
you gonna do a class to go over this? Or-
not for all these documents. This is stuff that's just in the status correction package.
Okay, so I mean, how will we get access to that?
And I finished going through the document to see if you even want it.
You don't need to finish going through it for me. I don't know what
This is the affidavit to pledge collateral security interest in the United States government. My rights, property, otherwise, I am not an enemy but a friend of the United States, American, rebut presumption, any contrary. And then it says power of attorney beneficiary, and then you put your CAF number on there. Your CAF number is the number that you get when you do your power of attorney with the IRS, but you cannot do it yourself. You need a trust in order to get your CAF number with the IRS if you do it properly because they do not play that anymore. This is a notary presentment, notary acknowledgement, notice and warning of utility companies. I've literally had my elders have used these same documents in order to get rid of certain debts. Like I remember he had told me he had a storage unit fee for like $3,000. He showed them the documents, they just waived the fee. It has a fee schedule in here. Mine actually has two different fee schedules in here. That's what mine is a little bit different. So this is a fee agreement. This is that's my estate number right here. And I also have documents in here that if there was any case, so it's a letter of rogatory for relief underneath the Hague Convention, Title 18 and 1781. So let's say it's notice of order of rogatory relief to whom it may concern. And within this section, it breaks down how they will fractionalize any negotiable instruments off of any court case or anything that I had, so that I'm requesting that they overturn that information, or I'm informing them that they'll be sued, and they also have to seal any previous court cases. This particular set of documents right here, this section I'm reading right now, it was an individual. He got caught by the U.S. Marshals. He had a big ass K-bar knife. He had cocaine on him, and he had a fake police badge, and they arrested him. He presented this information, and they ended up cutting a check for him. So yeah,
he,
Wow.
he was like playing with somebody else.
yeah, he was tweaking for real. He was tripping hard. So that's that, and then after that, like right here, this starts. I still got all of this left right here, but this starts my family constitution from the tribe and stuff. So all of this is our family constitution that's recorded. It says what treaties we attached to, who the members of our families was. I have my grandma signed this before she passed. My mom did as well, and they appointed me a certain position in the family. But all of this is recorded and documented with judge signatures. It's just it's about I'm not gonna make it seem like the only way that I do it is the only right way, but I haven't had any issues. But also, one thing that I can tell you, it's about how you want to be represented and how you want to be seen. And if you're not very knowledgeable in document creation or just these laws and stuff, there's not nothing you play around with because you don't
Mm,
want to leave any room for error or for somebody to come bother you if you trying to press people this way. But if you got a firm understanding of how to do this stuff, it's not hard. But I'm also saying that I'm super biased. I've been doing it for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like,
When you say you put it on the record, when you say you put it on the record, where exactly did you put it at? Like what court?
These documents I just showed you, that right there is filed in Cobb County Superior Court on the land records.
On
And
the
I have
land.
judge
oh,
signatures
you
from
was in Atlanta, huh?
hell no, that's Fulton County. I be in the burbs. I don't know. I be in
Oh,
the
yeah.
burbs.
It's in Georgia, but
I was in Fulton. Well, I only go to Fulton for like work, but I stay when I be staying out there. I stay in Cobb County. But my documents was already filed in Cobb before I really started going out to Atlanta, just because of the relationship that I was able to develop with business, and I also knew how the court systems worked out there. But see, I can take the same documentation and I can just record this in other states.
Okay.
Because who's going to deny it? It has a judge signature. Right? They'll be like, you're like, you can't do that here. I'll be like, the judge let me do it here. I'm like, that's not how the law works. I'm like, and then especially if you're a clerk of the court, you have to explain to me as to why I cannot. The Freedom of Information Act. Um, it that you can. What is it that you're looking for when it comes to the FOIA? What type of information are you looking for that you can't get access to, that you gotta request the Freedom of Information Act? It works. If somebody not telling you what you want to know, I for sure recommend you go that way. That could be a simple affidavit just quoting the law of the Freedom of Information Act.
mm.
Oh, unlimited food stamps. Is that
Yeah,
true?
yeah. Well, I wouldn't say unlimited. The whole food stamp, no, the whole food stamp aspect within itself, it's a grant program. Food stamps is grant money, so anybody has the ability to access it, and depending on your status, it will help you to get access to said funds. Like I can apply for food stamps right now, and I did a while ago, and the only thing they had asked me for one thing, and I just never sent it in because I got approved for a certain amount. It's just I wanted to see if I was gonna get approved. I did, and I wasn't even tripping about it. But I thought about it recently. I'm like, because I'm on this stupid protein diet and I'm tired of paying for groceries right now. I'm like, yeah, I may end up getting some. I'm just being real. It's a super simple process, but
It's
it's about making the initial application and also, like I said, expressing your status. And if you also, you have to understand what income means and
mm-hmm.
being understanding how much money you actually make versus the what the laws are saying. It's a lot of wordplay that go on in that. But yes, you can get food stamps. You can
Oh, income versus compensation, right?
yes. Because you may not have an income, but you get compensated for certain things. So that matters. Because if you don't have any taxable events, those are the people who that grant money is usually set aside for. That and children, indigenous people, and immigrants. So once again, it's so crazy how all this stuff ties back into immigration and status and political situation.
And my bad to keep going in and out. I had a question. I remember I had received some documents a while ago. The Super UCC package. Is those documents still valid?
A
Can I have
uniform,
those?
a uniform commercial code filing is not the same as a land document filing. The UCC, that's you giving the state notice of what it is you're doing, and that's you putting a lien on the all caps entity. Those are two different processes. Two different processes. You make a claim on your business, so can't nobody else do anything against it. That's you're protecting your interests. That's called you have a security interest in the situation. That's why the initial document is called a security interest document. So respectfully, but if you ask me that question, I know that you have one of two things. You have not studied the documentation well enough to understand the process, or either you just didn't put the time in, bro. It's really the same thing because the if you read through the security agreement, you understand what that relationship is. That's the living soul with a power of attorney over that business. And you're making the claim, you got an insurance policy in place in order for you to do what you're doing. That's different from you, the living soul, putting your stuff on the land record. All that shit is about the business. This is about
But
me. That's
but
two different things.
that's what I really was asking. That's what I really was asking. Can I take that same filing and go put that on the land?
I can't understand shit you just said. Can you repeat that? Did anybody understand that?
No.
No, it's real
It's the
low. Like
AirPods,
you
fam.
know,
Okay, say it
No,
again.
that's what I really was asking. Oh, excuse me. But that's what I really was asking. Like, could I take that same filing and go take that and file that on the land on the land record?
That's not for that.
Say
You
again.
you can, but it's not for that.
All right, I got you.
And most of you all did that without you understanding your nationality and the nation that you want to belong to.
Say it one more time.
I said a lot of people did that back in the day without them understanding their actual nationality.
So,
So it's best to do it right when you file it. Go ahead.
so yeah, before you file the form separating yourself, or bringing yourself back to land, you need to look up your family lineage history and know that part first, or
I
is that what
recommend I recommend you do. It's not gonna stop you from doing anything, but I recommend you do.
okay?
It's only gonna be to your benefit because if you're not a part of your family nation, whose nation are you a part of?
Yeah. So that's part of the information that you would put on those affidavits. Correct? Am I right about that? Like, yeah, I'm a part of this nation, like you had in your forms, your affidavit.
Repeat. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. All right, can you say that one more time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's basically what you had. Your like, what nation you were a part of that was in your forms when you found that you were on land, basically.
Yeah, because my
Okay.
people are attached to the land. Post dominion, we were here before any of the Europeans. I made sure that I expressed my personal political situation, my national
yes.
situation. I not put it on the record, and the judge acknowledged it.
Okay, gotcha. And how much could we expect to like need to be ready for? Like, because you have to pay this money to make it a binding contract. So how much do they usually charge? Like, you need hundreds of dollars, or like $1,000. Put that to the side. How
You
does that
talking?
go? I know
Are
it's
you
different
talking
in each
about
state.
You talking about to file this?
Yeah, when you're filing these forms, do they charge like a extreme amount? Is like $50, $25 here
Uh,
for?
um, filing was probably like filing was under $100. The exemplification because of how many pages, that's what cost more. But it was
Yeah.
still like in total, it was less than $300 for everything.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
filing and for me to get the exemplification for how many pages it was. That exemplification probably like $75.
Okay. That's why I want to gauge that too. Okay. Thanks.
And I got two different exemplifications, so I paid
Okay.
more.
I got a question. So I guess I got my birth certificate authenticated, and I think you said something at the beginning about the authentication for the birth certificate. That is that was a message basically to establish what I think you mentioned it before, but I couldn't quite catch that.
This a copy of That's a copy of one of mine. That's federal. This the state one. I'm not gonna show y'all my BC though.
Would that
But
be
no, I got it. But it's Like I said, it's just that's a representation that that business is doing business outside the United States jurisdiction. Because when you go get, what do they ask you when you're doing the authentication? What's the purpose of this? And
Mm-hmm.
you, most of us was trying to tell them now we're conducting business outside the United States jurisdiction. It's only so many reasons why they would even authenticate a document.
Mm-hmm. And I think you also mentioned too, also on a family level, when it comes to trust, um, being able to establish, I guess, like I guess from tradition or what have you, you be a or put your information out as a U.S. national and still go through the process of being able to establish it through a family trust, as far as I guess trying to be able to operate equitably, and then
That
if
was literally like one of the last things that.
oh, you got that. Oh, I'm ahead.
No,
My
no,
bad.
no, that's literally like one of the last things that was left was the like the trust in conjunction with status correction. Because I
Mm,
just looked at the list, and if you want to be looked at in an equitable situation outside of doing stuff like this, a trust is the only way for you to have those type of protections because you can be like, I'm this, I'm a living man, I'm that, and but you can go through the headaches dealing with people because there is it's this matrix that's just laid over the world. So you're gonna end up arguing with a lot of people just to get them to understand, where you could just present the trust, and people don't even want to touch that. So why not just create that veil of protection versus walking through life, continuously giving yourself headaches trying to explain this stuff to people?
I have a question. Can you, once your irrevocable trust is created, can you add anything else to it or no?
It
It's just
depends on
setting.
who made your trust and if you recorded it. If you recorded it in the courts, you're not supposed to. Now, if you got it privately, you can do what you want. You just
Okay,
need to make sure that all of your documentation is always updated as far as your notary and stuff.
gotcha. And
Um,
is it a good idea to add a piece of property to a family trust, or should it be a specific trust like a land trust?
either is actually fine as long as you don't put a bunch of other things there that people gonna try and come sue you for. It's really about asset protection and risk management. So if you have a property that, let's say you got a hair salon, and somebody potentially gets burnt or something, and you got this in the trust. So now they're trying to sue the salon, and then that may roll over into some of the trust funds. You don't want that to ever, even though that's very unlikely because of the way a trust is set up. I'm just saying you don't ever want to stack your entities in a position where something else can jeopardize something else. That's why Donald Trump got like over 200 trusts.
Oh, okay. I got
Because
you.
he got his own trust for him. What was the other thing? Trying to make sure I'm not missing it. Y'all got any questions?
can you change your appellation in this process
You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself.
and just
Now,
put it on record?
you can call yourself. You can literally. We've done name change documents, and we've had them filed in probate courts that get acknowledged. I've had people be able to update their social security card, passports off of some of them documentation. I haven't done it for nobody in years. Just most people don't.
Mhm.
I don't advertise a lot of stuff, but for like a lot of people, came through me to get like religious tribal name change documents that the court accepted, and then they was able to go use that, go get their IDs updated and everything.
Mhm.
But
Cool.
keep in mind, whenever you update that name, you're updating the all caps business name. Like I said, you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. When you change it in all caps, you changing something else.
When it comes to the international driver's license, when you're doing that, does I guess would your appellation be on the international driver's license?
It should
Okay,
be your appellation just on well, the way it can be expressed, it should name in proper English, upper and lower.
got you. And that can still be separate from the actual. Uh,
Yeah, some people do because they got warrants in their real straw name. So some
Right.
people do run different names. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Because they don't want the cop to go run their name on the IDP or the IDL and they're like, bring your ass here, boy. Yeah, nobody
Right.
wants. Because that's what, you giving it to them, not stopping them from running your name.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
Now you getting a ticket, that's a different story. They can't give you tickets with those, but they can still run your name.
Got you. Do you
Question. I'm listening.
um so like I guess just to I guess sum up the aspect, if you are not further along as far as the genealogy process is concerned, you can still make your declaration as far as the status correction in the process, and you can always go back and change it if you find out more information along the way. Is that basically what I'm understanding?
You can, but this ain't really like you got to look at it like the United States Constitution, bro. Like little to minimum amendments. You
Okay.
want it to be perfected the first time. That's one of the main reasons I really be like leaning in on people having their genealogy and stuff in order. Even if you have an idea of one of the tribe of your people, it's like you Blackfoot. I'll put Blackfoot in the documentation. I was like, we can work out all the other particulars later. But as long as you
Mm,
can verify you're this, we can go with that. I'll be like, you got a grandma or somebody, anybody yep. They be like, I'll be like, let's run the documents. I just need to know, and I don't need you to
okay.
be guessing because I don't want it to be. I use my situation for years when I was coming up. My people was like, we're Cherokee, we're Cherokee, we're Cherokee. Now they were not wrong. The Cherokee people come from the Lenape. They just didn't know far enough back that we have offshoots of Cherokee people from our parent tribe, which is Lenape, and
Mm.
our our principal chiefs, my grandparents were Lenape. So it is only right to acknowledge the Lenape over the Aniawea, which is Cherokee.
If I
So
find out, if I find out, if like for example, like I mean, I feel like everybody at some point has been told they got some relative that's I because I was told it was Choctaw. Can I then create an offshoot
you
if I?
can. So
Mm,
this book right here, it gives you the parameters for what it takes for you to be a tribe, a federally recognized tribe. There's tribal recognition, there's state recognition, there's federal recognition. So another tribe can acknowledge you, and that's good enough. You don't need these European people acceptance in order for you to be an indigenous person. We don't care about that shit. We really don't.
mm.
We don't. I promise you, we don't. Now, if you get state recognition and federal recognition, that's good for you. But there are certain requirements that you must meet in order to fall into them lines. Like one of the smallest nations, there's over 500 different Cherokee offshoots, but one of the smallest Cherokee tribes is only 5 to 7 members.
Wow.
This
Okay.
is called the rights of Indians and tribes.
I dropped it in the chat, y'all. If y'all was looking at, I dropped the Amazon link in there.
This
But
was actually one of my birthday gifts, bro. This is the type of stuff people bought me for my birthday.
hey, that's fire. That's fire. But yeah, that connected a major dot for me. But you said you do these services, but it's something that you don't have, basically, that you broadcast.
So
But
no, it's just not listed. So like in the mentorship stuff, if this is something that you want in the mentorship, this is stuff is included in the mentorship programs, but on for the sake of brand integrity, I don't want my company to be known for certain things. But now if we having
mm,
conversations, we doing this, I don't want to be classified as somebody who promotes sovereignty, regardless of my
mhm.
tribal status, because that can create a stigma that my company can't bounce back from. So I'm also thinking about the future. These are things, but it's no benefit unless I'm trying to do a money grab. Be like, yeah, come over here and get your status corrected. No, no, because like we gotta have these conversations first before I even start doing that type of shit for people.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm like, you gonna do it, then what? People have sent me people who did not understand it, and then they be like, "What's next? What's next? What's next?" I'm like, "You should have went. You should have watched the classes." I'm like, "We go over it step by step." But also, this was a third party person. Never was in the network. Never was in the classes. I had no idea of their education. But it's like also respect to the company. We provide a service, so that's why I favor the mentorship, so I can have
Mhm.
like I said, I ask y'all questions so I can understand where you at, right? That way I can see what it is you need. We can make it, we can tweak it specifically for you. Like in the mentorship programs, we go over personalized business development. Even I make personalized curriculums for y'all
Mhm.
based on what it is your needs, because the general community stuff, this is this is that shit bounce around. It's low key random. Like I have an idea of what I want to share with y'all, but then based on our conversation, something else may come about. Now, one on one, understanding what your A to Z is, we make the curriculum for that and we work through that. And we include status correction, business development, government contracting, grants, all of this throughout that program. That's why we like the one on one time is more beneficial.
Mhm. And
But
you,
even the, what was it? The do not detain, the injunction and stuff, because I see that DM had asked about that. That's a service that's not marketed on the company, but it's something that I've been providing to people for years. All y'all have to do is just fill out a you fill out a type form link in the company saying, because we have the systems automated. You fill out a form, I make sure that is right for your constitution, and then I mail it off to you. If y'all in the community, all the services is discounted, status correction, all of that stuff. The mentorship programs, even y'all, if y'all in the community, y'all get discounts on some of that stuff. That shit is low key expensive, but for everything that's bundled together, you get the government contracting software, you get the access to the grant software, you get access to one of the DAO programs, investment stuff. So it's just, if you do the steps that I was telling y'all to do in the free community, you'll have no problem in the mentorship. Actually, some of that will already be done. Now, if you when you come to the mentorship, it's accelerated. So the goal is to, when you come in, already start having you looking for government contracts so that you can be receiving them within 3 month period.
mhm.
So that little bit of over, and then also if y'all took care of the credit stuff, these numbers won't matter because I have a corporate financing plug. So you don't even have to pay for that out of pocket.
Now I need to get the credit side up. I got the government contract. I got my businesses are registered now on the sam.gov tip. So
So you got your cage number.
Yeah, I got
yeah, I
all
think I
my
do. Yeah.
stuff is set up with government contracting because that was something that I was doing for other people. So
Okay.
already
So
on.
what I have the Loom videos
Hmm.
of how the government contracting software work. We also have a thumbnail generator for anybody who making content. You tired of making thumbnails like me? We got a system that do that for you.
Yeah.
And we have it's like four different softwares that we was working on that I have to share with y'all. So if it's something that you all need, you can just see how it works, and then you can just work into getting access to it.
Okay.
And you
Um,
said those tiers again were updated as far as like the mentorship program.
yeah, I'm waiting on my CTO to finish overlooking the website, but everything is done. He was just cleaning up some stuff, but the mentorship is supposed to be launched tomorrow on the 11th.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna be looking for it.
I need to be in a mentorship.
So, and you just gotta let me know if you want a monthly schedule or a weekly schedule. If we doing weekly, I'm meeting with everybody singly 2 times out the week. That's another reason why I can't do too many people, because I gotta make sure I have enough time in order to make sure I meet with y'all and still do everything else. And so either I'm meeting 2 times a week or we meeting 2 times out the month.
For sure.
So
We change it.
no, y'all get to pick your own schedule for the mentorship. You get your own calendar, your own curriculum. It's based
So
off what it is you need. So literally, I'm going to, based on my days and your days, we're going to find a
mhm,
compromise to where I I kind of want to do like a Monday and Friday. That way, I can catch you at the beginning of the week, catch you at the end of the week. But
okay.
if y'all not doing this homework, that shit on you, fam. Because I'm like, but the good thing about the mentorship is I'm going to do a lot of the lifting for you. You just have to pay attention and
Mm.
implement the shit. You just gotta implement it.
Yeah, I only just say that because I'm doing Medicare season right now. For you
Y'all
know,
got open enrollment, right?
yeah. So we got like less than 30 days now to December 7th, and so most of the time, like I be on the phone doing enrollments.
No, it's cool. I
And,
have
um,
I
if
got
it's not
slots.
Eastern Standard Time, um,
It's
but
based on your schedule, and I have slots. So if
but
my
yeah,
November
I
and
got
December
right.
slots are filled up, if my
Okay,
November December slots are filled up, you can get
okay.
a January one. But it's
Oh, that's perfect.
also the monthly slots are different from the weekly slots because if I only have to meet with you 2 times out the month, like I believe I'm only taking 10 to 15 weekly, and some of those slots are already taken, and I'm probably taking up to 10 monthly just because when I did the math, I'm only gonna be able to like that's a lot of hours a week, man.
Yeah.
That is a lot of hours. That is a lot of
I
hours.
did the math for it. I'm like, I gotta make this make sense.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
full
so
time job.
January probably will probably be perfect for me, but yeah.
So the community tier is still something that we still have. Like when we have like the paid access to the classroom, that's still going to be separate from the actual.
Actually, I'm going to if y'all get the mentorship, I'm going to just absorb that community cost for the rest of the year. So if like it's no part in you getting double charged for stuff. So if you get mentorship, community should be included, right?
I'm
Mm.
with it.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna make sure that stuff is taken care of to collectively. I'm not tripping on that shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get enrolled for January too. 'Cause my birthday in January, so I'm gonna definitely try to enroll around January.
I'm not so one thing about me, a lot of y'all have known me for years. I go through stages when I want to do things. So don't be upset with me if it's not around next year.
Oh man, no.
It's all good.
I be having stuff going on. Like y'all have been. Some of y'all have been rocking me for years. I
Yeah.
literally like, I open up like school. Like we got semesters, and then we off, and then okay, I feel like I'm back. We back in. So I'm doing my best not to be like that. That's why.
Well, just do that in February.
I appreciate it.
All right. So real quick, the last thing I just want to touch on the do not detain injunction.
Oh
Um,
yes.
the do not detain injunction is literally the document that you submitted to your sheriffs, local law enforcement, governor, mayor, and it's an injunction. If they violate the injunction, you have the ability to sue them. And in a lot of cases, they respect them and they come up in the system. Like we've seen YouTube videos and TikToks, all types of stuff where people have gotten pulled over, or either where they just went and asked the officer on the side, like, "What come up when you run my stuff?" And they would say, "Do not stop, do not detain." You just have to record these things in the system and make sure that they get noticed. But that's something that just be lucky y'all getting this from me and not through another party
Mm.
because some of my partners they want to charge anywhere from $300 to $500 for me to do injunctions for people. So if you are in somebody else's community and you get this service, you're going to get an upcharge. I only charge you all depending on your community tier, anywhere from $75 to $100 for an injunction document for it to be completed for you. And all you have to do is just put the information in. But like, I, the only thing is, if I know what state y'all come from, the system already holds some of y'all states. So if you are a paid member, it'll just probably be like $50 for you because I discount y'all.
You got my state in there. I still gotta get with you for my 508 too.
Ooh, I do not have your state in there. You talking about Vegas? I do not have
Yeah,
Vegas.
Nevada.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll
you
have.
could do you know, you could do Pennsylvania. Do it
No,
matter?
I got Pennsylvania. I got Pennsylvania. I would just have to pull your constitution and make sure I update it for that state.
Okay.
If I don't have your state, it's not a problem. All I have to do is read the constitution and update it.
All right. So, are you talking about the one? I think I have that one. You do not.
That's really all y'all paying for is for me to read that damn constitution because I have to read the whole constitution to pull
I
certain.
think I have
Oh damn.
the do not detain paperwork I got from you before already. So I just
Then
got
why you ain't filed it?
because I'm trying to get all my other stuff together.
That's on you, homie.
I'm
So
gonna.
y'all,
So you can file your do not detain before anything else. I mean, you can rock with that just as is, or what?
no, per the documentation, you supposed to have certain things in order because it'd be like
Okay.
it say you the first lien holder of this and that, so if they violate, da, 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 da. So you are
Right.
supposed to have a UCC filing in place to be when you doing that. It's yeah.
Yeah, I need
Okay.
that. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna email you what I filled out, and then I mean if you have to do any altercation, then I'll just have to pay my fee.
um, yeah, I might just anybody who anything that we spoke about. If you have interest in mentorship or if you want any injunctions or you need help with any documentation, anything, shoot me a DM after we get done with class, and
Mm-hmm.
I will message you back today because I am about to go cook.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Um,
so
I
I
have a
just
question really quick.
Better
go
go
ahead.
eat first.
I'm not rushing y'all. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Um,
Where the
so,
baby's there with you?
Baby's in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
so how would it work like in another state? Like, if you're like traveling or,
You file it there too. You file it there too. That's all.
you
Because I
can,
have to file in multiple states because I traveled a lot.
so you would file for that state or you would file the one you have for your state in that state?
No, you have to file for that state because it
Gotcha.
has to go underneath their constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings
Um,
me to my point. I think I asked earlier. I think a lot of people probably want to know this too. Traveling internationally is
Mhm.
based off of whatever you decide to choose after you correct your status. How does that change? And I guess if you're trying to operate or when to operate underneath the strong man versus the private, I guess in
No,
that
but remember, that's why we read that United States citizen versus United States national. United
case.
States nationals can have passports.
Mm-hmm.
You have the
Oh,
ability to travel internationally.
got you. So if I was to change the appellation, would I be able to do that on the passport?
Yeah, you'll just as long. So the only thing about that, you're going to need an affidavit from your parents saying that these things are true in order for them to accept it. They tell the what is it called? Department of Homeland let you know the stuff they'll accept when you want to alter things.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool beans.
Question?
um, yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So if I'm going on a road trip, like I gotta do all those states. Oh my god.
You got to give people notice. That's why I like it. So it'd be wild because we have travel routes for some of our companies, and I've done so much documentation just throughout time just to ensure that people are safe as they're moving about for the company. It's part of the game.
Do you only
But
got
that
to do it once?
yeah, it's just you make the own you only have to send it once, but also most people are putting their license plates and stuff on there. Like your personal name can be on there, but also if they running plates and stuff, it says like you don't even stop this vehicle, you don't detain this individual. So depending on what it is that you have will also depend on what your injunction says. Because if you don't have a car, the injunction is just for you personally.
So it'd probably be best if you're driving a car that just go ahead and just rack up to 50 states. Eventually, just make that a part of the plan.
Think about if you in a rental, it's gonna be based off your name because you're
Right.
not gonna have that plate in your system.
Oh, okay. True. Makes sense.
But yes, I'd have to file in multiple states. It's best to do it in the state that you in, but also if you cross the state lines, it's really about making sure that the governor and the sheriffs have that stuff. You just want to make sure that it's in that system. But this is We are so spoiled now because people used to have to mail themselves places, and I don't mean that in a physical sense. I would have to send documentation saying that I'm coming here in order for people to accept me. This is pre-passport stuff. You feel me?
Mm.
So this used to be the standard of how we had to do. Like everybody needed notice of what you were doing and how you was moving about, and they just recorded and they go on about their business. Now, if they violate, you gave them notice of what the fee schedule is for if they do that, and all you have to do is sue people. But yes, you have to do it where you travel.
Makes sense.
Could
If
you
you not driving or if you're not really on the road like that, don't worry about it. Question?
yeah. So could you like I don't know, is there like a special plate or could you take your plates off your car and just put them on the rental or no?
Nope. That shit is illegal. That is illegal. And that's when it comes to that's another reason why it's about the type of identification you carry. Because if you have any identification that puts you in any of those state jurisdictions, you better off carrying a passport or international driver's license or international driver permit because it doesn't put you in any of those particular jurisdictions because it don't have an address on it.
Okay.
And I think as far as the place is concerned on the vehicle, if you operating as a private person, I guess you can also put your
I'm,
vehicle in the trust.
I'm gonna tell you right, it's best to put your vehicle in a trust, yes. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you get different plates, all you do is make yourself a target to be looked at.
Mm, that's a gem. You're right.
Yeah, don't be
You're
going to
you're,
get
you're
no. Don't be
standing out.
going to get no DOT plates. Just get your plates
You're
in
gonna
your.
stand out. Just put the vehicle in the trust. And even if the vehicle has a lien on it through the financial institution, you still can do the transfer. You just have to tell them. It's called a retitling of an account. This is why trust is so important because it gives you that level of protection you don't have just operating underneath the straw.
Cooking.
Would you put that in a revocable or irrevocable?
Revocable are not good for asset protections, and if you're doing a retitling of an account or anything that has debt attached to it, it should be an irrevocable, and that trust should have a spender clause in it in order to protect you from creditors. I know that's a lot, but that's like as specific as I can get to give you the exact answer for what you're looking for. A spendthrift clause
Conditional.
is yeah, it provides protections for beneficiaries against creditors. So if you have transferred a debt over to the trust and you are the beneficiary, they can't come after you personally now. That's why that's so important. But irrevocable trusts are for asset protection. Revocable are not for asset protection. They're good for asset transfers.
Yeah, I'm a DM you, man.
I was like, I don't mind answering y'all questions. Y'all just got asked.
You said
I know, and I
irrevocable
keep asking
is
questions.
for protection and transfer.
Repeat that.
You said irrevocables trust is for asset protection and transfers of debt.
No, irrevocable is for asset protection.
Okay.
Revocable is not good for asset protection. Revocable, easy to transfer assets in and out. Irrevocable, it is not easy to transfer assets in
Right,
and out.
because you can make changes. Okay.
Questions?
Oh yeah, yeah. For that passport, do we need to have any endorsements on it? Like, I don't know if you touched on that because
No, you can send in your supporting documentation and you don't have to fill it out no funny way. If you don't put your social on there, it's just gonna take a little bit longer. But if you do an affidavit about your name, it is supporting like when you read through it, it says if your name is something. I don't have it. I haven't had to do that in so long for nobody. But they literally, if your name is something other than what it is on your ID or what they have in the system as it pertains to the Social Security or on your birth certificate, if that's what your parents were, you just need an affidavit from your parent.
Well, I
and then
can't do. I ain't got no parents right now.
And then if our name is like it's the same thing. Say we already got, like I already have a passport. I was just making sure that I already went through the correct process of doing it right. I didn't know if you touched on that because I came in like a little bit late into where you was going into the citizenship part.
We didn't go over how to fill out the what is it, D1114 document.
DS11. Yeah.
We didn't go over that
Cool, cool.
because if you don't correct your status, what are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
filing as? You're just gonna be a regular United States citizen, right?
Gotcha.
So this is like prerequisite. Then you go back, you get all your identity. After you do your documents, then you go get your identification.
Okay, I got another question regarding a trust. I had what do you think about okay, so I saw a video and they said that it's not how do I want to say it? You shouldn't put things in a trust that already had a beneficiary as far as insurance, retirement plans and all that. So
That ain't true. You just change the beneficiary.
to the trust.
Yeah. You make the trust the beneficiary of the insurance policies, and then the money go to the trust, and then the beneficiaries of the trust are able to receive the insurance policy money. That's literally how that works.
Mm. Okay, so as far as the business, when you put the business in the trust, do you want to um change the name in the Secretary of State in the
Yes, you need to update your articles and your bylaws, and you need to
but
update your.
wouldn't that now that it says the trust as the owner, wouldn't that stop funding? Wouldn't I have a problem with being funded because of that?
No, you think Jeff Bezos can't get funding because of or Donald Trump, their business can't get funded because of trust on it? They have CFOs and other members who have good credit scores that they can appoint to be personal guarantor in most situations. People can be members and
Got you,
they
got
can
you,
hold
got
other
you,
roles in the company. They don't have to be the owners.
got you, got you, got you.
Anything else? Anybody?
Nope.
I was gonna ask like, what is like the basic trust that we need to get established, like
I
in
recommend
general?
everybody start off with a I recommend you start off with a family trust before you even start trying to play off with the revocable trust stuff. Because like you can do a revocable trust in your name, that's cool. You don't need a EIN number. You can use your social security number for that. But that's like I said, there's no protection in that. So if you're gonna be building stuff, intellectual property companies, family trust is usually the best one to start off with because just look at it as like you're building for the future. And then you start branching out. You do your business, your charitable trust, you do your spendthrift, your land trust, your revocable trust in your name that you do all the other stuff you want to do. And then you can do a blind trust with a spendthrift clause in it so that you can start discharging debt. You literally just make another trust just to inherit the debt. It gets deep.
So ultimately, you can create a family trust and put some sub trusts within it, except for not being recommended to put business trust or any type of trust that's going to affect.
Best way I can explain it is like, okay. Oh, I was looking for this. This one of them encryption drives. I just found one. Okay, so right here. So we have one trust, right? This side is the family trust. And instead of me trying to stack everything underneath this one trust, why won't I just run everything parallel and just put it side by side? What's preventing me from doing that? You don't have to keep on stair stepping. They all can be separate. You can, but I just want people to have that understanding. You don't have to funnel every company into another funnel, another company. You literally can have this business stand alone, or this trust stands over here, this trust stands over here, this trust stands over here. But now, because if you do it like that, you can have this Trinity Trust. Perfect example. We have our we have our family trust, we have our business trust, and then we have our charitable trust. The money that the business trust makes goes into the family trust, but this one may have created taxable events. So, in order for us to decrease taxes, we're then going to donate money into the charitable trust. Now, if I have all of these companies stacked in ownership underneath each other, I can create a tax liability, which may not be beneficial for me. You feel me?
Yes, sir.
And do you recommend that we need to get like a or form some type of trust company to help manage these trusts, or like how do you go about like the management? Do you use like a trust company or some type of like office or something like that?
Mm-mm. You gotta remember a trust is nothing more than a piece of documentation, bro. Now, if you got a bank account and you put money into it, bookkeeping. All you have to do is manage your ledgers. You're looking for a bookkeeper then, or a trustee. You're either looking for a trustee or a bookkeeper. That's who manages your trust.
So
Yeah,
in
that's what I
order to
meant.
okay.
Trustee company. I'm glad you said that. Okay. Cool. So bookkeeping. Appreciate it.
No,
So to
bro.
open a bank account, you would have to go and get you just go to the IRS and get a
Yeah.
EIN number for the trust before you try to open a bank account.
Yes, ma'am. They will not let you open it without an EIN number. And when you go on there and you apply, tell them that you're applying for banking purposes, just so you don't have any problem getting it. Because they want to do bookkeeping. So they usually don't deny people if they're applying for banking purposes. I don't believe I've ever been denied applying for banking purposes.
So how's the trust private if you're reporting it to the IRS for an EIN number?
No, your assets and your actual trust documentation is private, not in the public record. Now,
Oh, okay. Okay,
and
okay.
then you not running all your money through that one account. Like I got silver and gold and stuff that's attached to my trust that banks have never even seen.
Oh, so when you go in the bank, you only show them a certain part of the trust then.
Yeah, they only, and depending on the institution, they really
Yeah, you
only
don't
be
show
wanting
them your whole trust. You just show
documents.
them your certificate. That's it.
Yeah, they only be wanting your first two documents.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't be they don't be wanting to know
Because
who
it's
your
private. It's
beneficiaries and
not their
stuff are
business.
unless it's time for somebody to come inherit your account. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Hmm.
Questions?
Um, what are like banks that you think are good for doing any trust services or banking for trust?
I had a client just open up at
I ain't had
Wells.
no
I got
problems with Bank
people
of
at
America.
Truist. I got people at Navy Fed. Only reason y'all having problems with your trust because you ain't got my trust because my people get their bank accounts open.
I just know with trust
Yeah,
you have to
Navy
make an
Federal is
Well, do
appointment.
close.
you have a
Close.
tracking number on mine? I ain't got mine yet.
Where's your stuff at?
Do you
I
have
ain't
what?
get I
When did
haven't
you
received it.
when did you submit it?
You just called me and said
No,
you was at
no.
UPS.
Yeah, when you check your mail, because I for sure everybody else whose stuff I mailed out, they got theirs. Actually, Dr. Hood, they didn't even put her mail in her PO box. They had her stuff in the back. She had to send her husband up there to go get her stuff. That's why I check the tracking right now. All right,
Send me the tracking.
hold on.
Maybe I was giving it to after the holiday.
No, it should have been there. It should have been
Oh,
there. I'm
she
about
on
to.
the phone.
How much is it for you to do our trust?
Excuse me, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, how much is it for you to do our trust?
If you are a paid member, I give you 25% off of the listed trust price. And a if you are in a mentorship program, it's included, or either you get 50% off depending on what tier you're in. So that also includes the monthly mentorship. The initial price for a family trust for the company is $750. So that discount.
Okay.
Now, if you are in need or any help or anything, I also let people do payment plans if that is necessary for them. Because I know how bad people be needing to do some of these things.
Okay.
Oh, tracking USPS. I'm over here tripping.
It said delivered.
I didn't even get to it. I zoned out. Chicago
Yeah.
delivered November 8th, 1:38 p.m.
November 8th.
Delivered.
Okay.
I'm about to send you the tracking. Yeah, I've been mailed that stuff out.
Yeah, it's at my P.O. box. So that was what,
Yeah,
Friday.
don't blame me because
Yeah.
you got it already. So you been had it. You been
I'm
had it.
excited. I wanted to.
All right. Okay. So hopefully you all enjoy class. It was super informative. If you all want to, like I said, get in the mentorship, you need any of the documentation. And if you are in the mentorship, I just do my best to include all of that stuff in there. I don't want to be charging y'all for extra stuff. So if it's certain things that you want to put in your roadmap and they may be outside of what my initial offer is, if you know I offer it, all you have to do is request it and I would just put it in there, especially if you're paying for a mentorship. I don't see no point in charging y'all for extra stuff because once again, the mentorship is based off of your needs, not mine.
Well, we appreciate it, Gigi.
Well, you know I appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you for always being
Yes,
available.
sir.
'Cause I know I'll
Highly
be
appreciate it.
bugging you.
Yeah, good. No,
You
I
same
love
here.
y'all. Make sure y'all have a great night. And if y'all need anything, shoot me a message in school so I can get prepped tonight so I can get y'all whatever y'all need by tomorrow.
All right.
Hey.
For
All right.
Thank
sure.
you.
Have a
Bless.
good one.
Peace. I might go catch this line game.
Yes, sir.